Aonia are a beast of a band, and there's 7 of them, 7 very talented members in this band, led by 2 sopranos at the front, sharing vocal duties in a way that, well, while not unique, being that they're an operatic progressive metal band, in a style that's different, and different enough because the 2 sopranos have different style of vocals. They can best be compared to the likes of Revamp, Avantasia, Nightwish, Epica. They're in that style. So you probably think operatic, oh, you've already got an idea of what to expect. I was pretty much the same leading up to this Bloodstock festival appearance this year, Bloodstock 2018, where they played the New Blood stages, where we went to check them out and absolutely loved it. Really, really enjoyed them. I'm not a big fan of operatic metal. Best I can say is I grew up watching the likes of Nightwish, listening to the likes of Nightwish, and I enjoyed a lot of it, but it's never really resonated with me. I've never really found an overly lengthy appeal. I can enjoy songs on their own, even an album or two, but rarely have I gone, yeah, that's a band in that style, that genre, that I'm definitely going to keep listening to. Well, I've got to say, Aonia are different. They've really resonated with me. And it's been an incredible year for the band. It's been an amazing year for them. They won Bloodstock Metal to the Masses, that Sheffield leg of it, and when they played Bloodstock, pretty much anyone you spoke to was like, yeah, they were really, really, really good. Really good. Everyone was talking about them afterwards. And they're not done yet. On the 6th of October, they're releasing their debut album. It's called A 7. It's taking place at their own festival, Aonia Fest, number 2. Hopefully, if you're watching this afterwards, you went and you loved it. It's a 10-band bill with Aonia at the top of it. And as I said, that's where the album is going to be launched. So if you're watching this beforehand and you're in Sheffield, get down to it. It looks like a spectacular gig. And if you're watching afterwards and you've been, I hope it was fantastic. I know it probably was. You can't not listen to Aonia and think of the word epic. Now, that's a word that gets thrown around far too much nowadays. The most minute thing is described as epic. Got a ball, throw it upside down so it lands on its base. Epic, apparently. But it's the word that comes to mind with Aonia. And even though it's been diluted, there's no escaping the fact that that is the best way you can describe Aonia. It's the best way to describe the 7. And it's not just because of the powerful twin vocal performance of the 2 singers, Mel and Joanne, although they are a major reason why. It's the guitar harmonies, the thundering drum beats, the ingenious bass hooks, creative use of keyboards, all combining to create a modern, very important, a modern sounding operatic metal album. It sets the bar high very early on with the opening track, Soul My Soul, a thrilling opening song. The sound instantly of a band that's really, really confident with huge riffs, soulful vocals. You know, kind of sounds like a band not on their debut. This is their debut record after all, first song on it, and it's weighted more towards symphonic song, but that's okay because it's followed by the previously released single already, Violet Hours, and that comes next. And that hammers home the rockier side of the band. Catchy ass rhythm, a dual vocal performance that can best be described as incredible. And the guitar solo at the end alone is to die for. Fantastic stuff. Now, if you're worried that it might not be metal enough for you, worry not, because Still I Rise, fast-paced groove, mixes the formula up a bit. The legendary Blaze Bailey also guests on this. He lends his vocal talents to the track, and that helps make it stand out in a little bit of the heavier side of thing. And that's followed by the fantastical sounding, because ultimately they are that kind of band, Siren's Lament and Eye of the Storm. And the former, it's one of those conjuring up images that you're sort of listening to, and you picture like faraway lands, mist flowing over it, light from the sun, and the latter has like a folk jig-like melody to it. There are enough differences as well, particularly in these sort of tracks, between the 2 female singers that makes them individually stand out, all while sounding like perfectly in sync with each other too. They both have varying degrees of ability, so that you can really notice the difference. It's not just 2 sopranos singing exactly the same at the exact same time. I think that's a very, very important difference with Aonia. And one of the best examples of this really is the spellbinding track, Heartsword. It's a track dominated by energetic vocals because it also has the guest. Now, I'm going to absolutely ruin her name. I'm going to give it the best shot I can. Liana Baselios Taskariki. She guests on this as well, but it's not dominant either. It's a combination thing, and just like a great sidekick, the rest of the instruments, your guitars, your drums, your bass, and so on, and the keyboards help keep things tight, even when it slows really down, because it slows down a bit, and the bass then sort of kicks in and leads back towards a sort of frantic guitar solo, and to me it's the best track on the album. Absolutely love this. Listen to this one over and over and over again. And that's the thing, to say Iona give their everything on this album, it's an understatement. By the time the wonderfully melodic and beautiful If You Dare and the final track, the twisted edge of Hide and Seek, not Hide, Hyd as in Jekyll and Hyde, come along with things, it kind of reaches apex. And you kind of realise, wow, like that's they've done brilliantly here. It's built and it's built and it's built. It's got to this finale and woof, done. 10 tracks are over. Thank you very much. And there are some, like I said at the start, that will dismiss this off the bat straight away because of the tag opera metal. Don't let that put you off, because this is album, it is operatic metal, but there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more focus on instruments and the vocal performances. It's different enough that you will find bits you like. If you're not like a big fan of the whole huge opera style, Nightwishy, hate to say that, bombasticness of it all, you might find other elements in the vocals that you'll prefer. And while Iona aren't leading the pack in this regard, that's only because this is their debut album. They're not leading because it's their debut. There have been few similar bands over the last couple of years, maybe the last decade or so, that have actually put something out that's as high in quality as this. Give them time, give them progression, given this release and what's going to happen over the next year or two as it builds and the live shows that come from it, I can really see Iona becoming a force of nature in this genre. Anyway, the album is out on the 6th of October, so there's no excuses to not go check it out now. It'll be available streaming, the usual place and so on, that kind of thing. Make sure you check it out.
You're just the